Welcome back to What Arty Noobs. This is a Lorraine 15550. It's the Tier 7 French SPG. This one's located on the eastbourne of Studzianki, and it's under the commands of beatasianoobs. And it's been a while since we've seen a replay from him, but he sent this one in, so let's have a look and see how he gets on. This Arty is based on the Lorraine 40-ton tank. Game on. Well, 155mm howitzer, so it's actually quite powerful. It's capable of doing 630 alpha, 40mm pen, and 7.6 meters on burst radius, between 11 and 22 seconds of stun. He's ready to shoot. Now, as I said, it's based on the Lorraine 40-ton tank. And unfortunately, the Lorraine 40-ton never got built, so it never got produced. If it had been produced, it probably would have been quite interesting. He fired a bit snap there, did he? No, he didn't fire. He's not reloading. I thought for a second I heard the crump of the round going out, but no, it didn't happen. In fact, he did get a bit of a rescue bloom there as he turned the turret. It's got a 24-degree arc, 12 degrees either side of the center line. And he's decided not to shoot at the Super Chaffee, and now he's going to go for the IS-2. Dialing in. Roundabout there. Looks right. You see the way that beatasianoobs does that? He actually... Good shot. 196 off the first shot. He actually picks the spot where he thinks the enemy tank is actually moving about that spot as a center point, and keeps moving through that point, and that makes it easier for him to actually get a direct hit. He's lined up his next shot already on a Studzianki, who he thinks is just the other side of that bank, but decides not to shoot, which is, well, it's actually a little waste of not shooting. He could have actually taken the shot, a blind shot, and potentially ended up with a bit of damage. Now the Cromwell keeps pulling back to hide from the enemy whilst he's reloading. We fired that one in, but we got him near his top point where he pops up to shoot. And we are picking up stun assist, so it looks like the Cromwell was actually being hit by one of our teammates, and he's taken advantage of the stun that he managed to produce. Now, there's two types of shell he's got. Non-stun HE 770 alpha and 50mm pen, but only 4 meters on the burst radius. And with the stun HE, as I mentioned, 630 alpha, 40mm pen, but it does have that 7.6 meters burst radius and between 11 and 22 seconds of stun, which is where he's getting some stun assist. In fact, more stun assist so far than his actual damage. Okay, he's picked the spot where he thinks that guy's resting, but the guy's pushing on, so he's picking a spot ahead of his travel, letting him walk through that travel, and gets hit. Lovely. That's the best way of actually ensuring that you get damage, is you watch and learn about the enemy tank. In fact, actually, Arty players tend to be great observers of enemy behavior and tank behavior, because what they will do is they will pick a spot ahead of its track on the enemy tank and then work out where it's going to go. So it's almost like they are prognosticators. They are trying to work out what the enemy's up to, and if they can predict what he's doing, they can lay the shell in his path as he's doing here, trying to work out where the challenger's going next. He's picked that spot. The shell went in. I think the challenger would have been damaged. Probably not a direct hit, but of course the shell did not disappear. If the shell had disappeared because he was unspotted, then we'd know that he'd hit him. But ideally, you want to catch the enemy tank as they're going through the estimated spot at the moment that they do, and then you'll get a direct hit. So you can see this Govika pulling back, rounds out. Well, he picked a spot just to one side of the Govika, but he still managed to pick up 200 hit points of damage off it. Arty play is really about trying to work out what the enemy is doing, and you need the minimap to do that. You have to look at the minimap and try and decide what the enemy is going to do next, so that you can then take advantage of them. And sometimes that means abandoning one front on the battle and going after another front altogether, mainly because your team is either pushing through hard or the enemy's pushing, and you need to try and stop them and help your teammates to defeat them. Occasionally, Arty also helps by focusing fire on tanks which are very static, which are not doing anything, and they're just sitting there camping. And by firing an Arty round in, you can provoke them to do something. That was very close. I say that because I could tell there that that guy was barely moving backwards or forwards on the same spot. So it's more than likely he was going to be in the same spot. There's that Challenger again. And he's been marked by somebody as a target. In fact, it's the M4A3E8 who's asked us to hit him. But we're aiming just to one side of him at the moment. In fact, he's changing to the non-stun HE instead. Now, you need to get an accurate hit to get that to work. It puts the timer off again. He has loaded, but it's changed the timer. It starts the timer off again. The timer doesn't know the difference, and it doesn't work out that, yes, you have already completed the load using intuition skill. The Challenger's decided to depart from that position. He's now going after one of our teammates. You can see that M4A3E8 of the enemy team who's blocking or is trying to attack our guys who are just outside the factory region. There's the Super Chaffee up in the north. Now, that's a fast-moving light, and the thing is that he needs that guy to be static to make this non-stun HE to work. Okay, he's done it. He's stopped, and rounds out. Oh! Well, it would have been an accurate shot. It probably would have landed within the damage zone of that shell if that guy had not been dead. In fact, he got wiped out by our E8, so that was a help. That Challenger's still up there, though. The ARL-44 is now one shot, but we've loaded the non-stun HE again. Now, if he comes towards that corner, we might be able to get a shot on him, but instead, we're now looking to the north again because there's that Chaffee who's being a bit of a nuisance. In fact, he's switching back to the stun HE, which I think is the correct decision, because what we want to do is weaken that Challenger, and the best way to do that is to actually stun him, and then our guys can get the shot. The E8 just, the Tiger just killed the E8 on the enemy team. But if we can stun that Challenger, both tanks that are sitting there can get a shot at him, but they don't want to go around the corner because they know that there's a P-43 Biz up in the north, and there he is. And he's got a 90mm gun if he's armed with a top gun. He's moving back into the shell. Ooh, but the shell goes to the right. That's called windage. In wargaming sense, it's actually called RNG. That they're saying that, oh, something diverted the shell in midair. But in actuality, it's called windage. It's where the wind diverts a shell away from its aim point. And the same thing happens for rifle rounds as for artillery shells. In fact, windage is probably the reason why a certain candidate for president is still alive, because there was a strong breeze on the day a few weeks back on the 13th of July when somebody actually took a shot, and instead of hitting the target, the shell brushed past his ear. And that shot was more than likely did not hit the target because of windage. That's the reason. People have said, oh, it was the fact that he turned his head. I don't think it is, actually, because he didn't turn his head that much. But it is more than likely it was windage, that the wind caught the shell and diverted it a few inches to the left. And that's why it didn't hit. But the Scorpion claims the Story Mill. There's only 6 enemies left, but the score's even at the moment. And we've got more than 5 minutes left on the clock. So we've got a Jackson sitting there all on his own, right at the back of the map. We fire the round in, long range, wasn't fully dialed in. And we've marked the spot again to say that's where we're aiming. Oh, that was a direct hit. That was very definitely a direct hit there. That Tiger's still fighting it out, but unfortunately that P-43 Biz is still there, and he's still causing problems with his 19mm gun. Just hit the Tiger and dropped his hit points, so we need to put a shell on top of this P-43. Rounds out. Will this hit? Oh, beautiful hit. Lovely shot. Right on target. Wiped out the P-43s. Helped the Tiger. Now the Tiger, even though he's a one-shot, so is the Challenger. And if the Challenger comes around the corner now, he's going to get no support from that guy, but he is going to get help from this OI. And we're not loaded, and all we can do is fire this round in. It lands near the OI, but we're going to lose the Tiger because the Challenger, oh, the OI did it instead. So now the scores are even still. There's 4 left on either side. The enemy Arty, well, they are good because they've got kills. 2 kills for the GW Panther so far, and 1 kill for the SU-8 on our team. Well, beatasianoobs only got 1 kill, and our M44 doesn't have any kills at all. Ideally, we need both these guys to move to the other end, to the cap, and if our box tank and our Scorpion are playing correctly, they can get into the enemy cap and will cap out before the enemy can return. This is where an Arty player with a W key is the most dangerous thing on the battlefield. And it wasn't me who said that, actually. It was Steve Walsh yesterday. Funnily enough, he was actually, he was joking in the sense that he's saying, you know, there's not many Arty players who actually move about, but Arty players who do move are deadly to the enemy. If you know where your W key is, and the Scorpion goes through the houses and is not found anyone, so they must be further north, and they are, and it's across the railway line. There he is, and rounds out. This could be a kill. Wasn't close enough. Now, he needs to motor straight to the enemy cap right now, as fast as possible. This is one of the good things about this little Arty. 60 kilometers an hour, maximum speed. It's got the speed of a Lorraine 40 ton. Now, he's actually sticking near here at the moment because, of course, the enemy cap, our cap rather, not the enemy cap, and one of those tanks, either the OI or the Challenger, and I think it's probably the OI, has gone into our cap area. We're firing at the house, but without somebody to spot for us, we can't get those shots in. Now, somebody has got into the enemy cap, and now ideally we need to get into that cap too. Still only 1 person in the enemy, in our cap, and the Scorpion was making moves to cross the field to try and spot for us. He only needs to find out where the guys are in the cap, and we can get a reset. The box tank, in the meanwhile, is getting into the cap. The M44 should get into the enemy cap as well. Oh, we got a reset! And in fact, he killed the Challenger with a blind shot. And the Challenger made the huge mistake of thinking, yes, let's sit next to the house, because, of course, we're hidden from view from one side. No, you don't do that. Not on this area. Because if you do hide next to the house, and, well, somebody's just going to fire at the house, as beatasianoobs did, and work out that, yeah, that's what you're up to. And he got a reset and killed the Challenger outright. And they're going for the OI. He gets a direct hit for 242, which makes him a one-shot. And there's only 1 Arty left because, of course, we killed the GW, which means the SU-8 is the last remaining Arty on their team. In all this kerfuffle about the battle, I forgot to mention, actually, it was a tier 7 game with tier 6 tanks, so he was top tier. But look at this, now the OI is in a lot of trouble. We are capping. We can cap out before the clock runs out. He fires a round in, doesn't get him, but now we can just run for the cap. And the M44 suddenly realized that his WP is there, and he could have actually got into the cap a long while back, and that would have yielded the victory. But now we're 4 seconds away from capping out, and this is definitely going to be a win by cap. Even the enemy RT tries from the cops in the center, but we've won the game, and it's game over. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the second mark of excellence for beatasianoobs in the Lorraine 155 mle.50. He managed to get a second-class tanker out of it as well. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 8. But unfortunately, there were no other medals from this particular game. But it was interesting, and it did go right down to the wire. Let's have a look at team score. Well, the highest damage in the game actually went to the M56 Scorpion, the Tier 7 American tank destroyer. He got 1,889 hit points, but he didn't get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. Second highest on damage turned out to be, yes, beatasianoobs, 1,847 out of that one. And third highest was the OI on the enemy team, 1,727. When it came to kills, we can see the highest score was the OI. He got 4 kills in that game. And in joint second place, we can see beatasianoobs, the box tank, the M56 Scorpion, the Tiger 1, and the Story Mill on our own team. But only one player on the enemy team managed to get more than 1 kill other than the OI, and that was their GW Panther. He got 2 kills, but he stuck around in the woods in the corner of the map, and he got detected by the M56. And of course, we did some damage to him, and so did the Scorpion, finished him off. In fact, only a few we can see a few members of the enemy team did manage to get kills, because it went right down to the wire in terms of number of kills. It was equal right up until the last few minutes. When it came to base XP, we can see the high scorer was the Scorpion again. 1,005 went to him, so he got the top in 2 columns, the only player to get over 1,000 base. But beatasianoobs got into second place with 869, and the Tiger 1 managed 798. He fired 19 rounds. This is a decent amount of ammunition for a battle that lasted at least 15 minutes, or close to 15 minutes. 5 direct hits on the enemy, none of them penetrated though, and 14 splash. Damage of 1,847, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 2, and did 1,404 hit points of stun assist off 12 stuns, and got 49 capture points, 49 defense points rather, I should say, when he actually killed the challenger in the cap area, because the guy stuck behind the house. And of course, you just don't do that. As I said, it's the worst place to be if there's Arty in play, because they will aim for structures which they know that you're likely to hide behind. And in fact, frequently people will hide behind houses when they really shouldn't do it. They should either stick in the open or place themselves as close as they can to any ground. In fact, he should have been on the other side of the cap, nearer to that bank, because then at least if the Scorpion had got close, then he would have been able to detect the guy before he actually came over the bank or came around it. In that game, on a free-to-play account, he actually made a profit of 5,814 credits, and he also picked up 1,738 experience points out of that one as well. It was interesting because it is the second mark, and that's now up to 85%, but he's now on the long, slow march to getting that third mark of excellence. But he's definitely on the way there and will get it if he keeps carrying on the same way. This little Arty doesn't have as much power as the top tier Artys, but it certainly is fun, the fact that it can move about really quickly, and you can win games with this Arty by just being in the other cap whilst your teammates are trying to fight the enemy at your end of the map. And you can put a lot of pressure on the enemy, because this little Arty does buzz around the battlefield very quickly. Hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.